It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday, and welcome to a week beginning episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. Nielsen, Cass, and Gager back with you once again. Episode 222, brought to you by our friends and partners at CoolBet. When you sign up for an account at coolbet.com, just use the code 2GUYS, the number 2 and the word guys. They'll know we sent you, and you can start wagering on NHL playoff action, which will be just around the corner. We'll have some better ideas of the matchups that we'll probably be seeing around the league come Thursday's episode as well. But Gager, Cass, you guys were playing a little hockey this weekend. How did the Alzheimer's event go?
Well, it probably sounds like I smoked, chain smoked 8 to 10 packs of cigarettes with the way my voice is feeling right now. It was a full weekend. It was with Team Cali Crush and at the Alzheimer's tournament. Had a lot of fun. It was really, really good. Great group of guys. My voice is gone from trying to talk over the loud music, and from just the festivities. It was good though. Got to hang out with Gager a little bit too, so that was fun.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how fun was that, Gager? I watched you play a little defense for a couple periods on Sunday. Looked like you were trying to stand people up with the blue lines, both blue lines. I liked it.
I would yell at. I go, watch out! You're in the tracks. Don't stand on the tracks when the train's coming through. Yeah, you guys got a kick out of it. It was pretty funny. And then it was one of the real funny moments was the All-Star game where Cass and I, of course, were both part of. And Cass got the puck and went, and Cass can still move, and he's going up, and I'm sitting on the bench with a couple other guys, and they just go, Jesus, could you imagine actually playing against that guy with it, going that fast, coming down on a forecheck? I'd quit hockey. I'd quit. I wouldn't play. And it was funny because we were just like, yeah, that's a mountain of a man going pretty quick. That's the last thing anyone would want was Cass coming in and laying the boom on you. But it was pretty fun. It was lots of gentle ribbing between teams and the pros, and even I went in for a draw against Mac T, and Mac T even said that his hockey career has now been completed by taking a draw against me. So it's perfect weekend.
Cass, are you just thinking about it? I don't know how you are age-wise compared to Fistrick, but are you one of the youngest guys on the alumni side of things?
I'm still one of the younger guys. Yeah. They're starting it's actually, I was talking with someone about this in the weekend. It gets crazy. There's not many 35-year-olds left in the league, really. A lot of the guys my age are done now at this point. But me, Fistrick, Jeff Delorier, Colin Fraser would be another one. There's kind of we're all in that close age group. We're all starting to be a part of it. So I'm still one of the guys on the younger side. Not in shape like Marty Jelena, who is man.
I saw some pictures of him with some buddies, and I was like, damn, Jelena is ripped.
He's pretty cut right now, and I am not. Man, he was in good shape. Him and Greg Adams wasn't here this time, but some of those guys are still in pretty good shape. But I'm one of the younger guys still. Yeah, but you know what surprises people typically? It's that I actually have decent hands. Everyone's like, "Oh, I thought he was just a tough guy," and he could do. I'm like, well, I was, and I got pigeonholed, and I never got an opportunity to do anything else. But I could actually, my hands were okay.
Well, according to the podcast, I'm going to guess that you pulled out a few toe drags over the weekend.
Well, there's a couple. They didn't work at first, and then so I had to change it up a little bit, especially in that. In the All-Star game, where you're playing against a whole bunch of other pros, because I'm like, I did not want to lose that game. The other ones, okay, whatever. I'm like, but I did not want to lose that game, and so I started having to push it a little bit more, and my hips are feeling it today because of that. But I had to pull a couple toe drags, score a couple goals. Although I got a couple assists too, so I wasn't all selfish.
Nice. Gager, did you keep track of your points?
I was 1 and 2.
Oh, you got one, eh?
Oh yeah, nice. Buried one. Yeah. The guy gave me 5-hole. I looked shelf and I ripped it on and it's funny being a goalie shooting on another goalie because I kind of just look, oh, all right. And
in your thought process, are you like, oh, mistake, buddy? I got you now.
Yeah. And I ripped it. He had I tried to just shoot it 5-hole and it got there, but it hit the inside of the thigh, and there's not a lot. There's a little bit of protection there, but it's like a really bad rope burn. So I scored, and I knew where it hit him, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, man. That it wasn't in the junk, but that can be just as bad." He's probably walking with a little saddle sore today.
Yeah, Gager tries to hit other goalie in the junk.
Yeah.
What I'm taking out of that, it was on purpose.
My buddy Ryan was on your team. He's on the live stream. He watches, he listens. He goes, Gager was a great dressing room guy. He also told me that you described him as the long lost Sedin triplet, which is pretty much not how I would describe Ryan when I came to watch him play. But what was the concept behind this?
He made a play, and I said, he's not the smallest individual. I referred to him. You look like the Sedin twins, but I meant one guy looks like both Sedin twins. So, but it was a pretty sweet play, dude. And it was awesome.
You look like both Sedin twins. That's funny. All right. Well, yeah. When I was there, he had a couple of nice little passes that he made, so it was good. But yeah, I'm glad you guys all had a good time. Oh, he's a beauty. Yeah, he's a beauty.
Yeah, I can't wait to. I have a standing invitation to all those guys to come up, and we can hit the alumni room and have some more laughs, because I probably had more fun than they did.
We got Hockey Helps the Homeless in 2 weeks too. It's kind of back-to-back events, so. We've got that one coming up in a few weeks. That should be fun as well. All right, let's dive into this. We'll get to what we got to talk about here in just a second, but let's just start with the Oilers' loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets. I kind of just sort of like Sunday afternoon, you clinched on Friday night, you get the Columbus Blue Jackets on the road, and I know everybody wants to beat everybody, but the Oilers had won 4 games in a row by 3 goals or more, 3 of those against pretty decent playoff teams. I'm not going to be overly critical of a loss on a Sunday afternoon in Columbus, but is that the wrong way to approach this? Or Cass, where do you come out on that loss in Columbus to start this quick 2-game trip?
Oh,
muted.
Man, that's the first time in a while I've done that. I have to clear my throat all the time because of all the smoke, and I got to sneeze, so that's gonna be coming up here. But here we go. Someone else take over because it's coming.
Well, as you know, I was patrolling the center ice and a little bit on D, and I kind of fast forwarded through most of the game and to see it. But
smart move.
That kind of looked like okay, let's see what happens if we can get this early, and kind of a little. Yeah, like you said, I don't want to be too critical about it. It looks like they just lost a little bit of the jam by the end. To be that emotional from the game on Friday too, that's a huge letdown. They clinched, Evander Kane gets the hat trick. There's a lot of other things going on. It would have been nice to kind of seal the deal on the Sunday, but it's from going from that high to that low. I think it's a
kind of not acceptable, but kind of understandable, right? Like,
I really want to see how the next game goes, right? Like this is a game they'll have to be up for. This will be good. Another hard test, and get back to where they were playing the prior 4 games.
Last game they had a letdown. It was Minnesota, and after that they rattled off 4 pretty impressive victories. Cass, where do you come on in yesterday's game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not dwelling on it overly much.
Yeah.
If I was going to say if there's something to pay attention to or to be concerned about, it's how are they going to react when they don't get a call or get a bad call against them in the playoffs? Like if that's what kind of sets off your stumble there later in the game, like is that going to be something where, let's say you get a bad call early in a game, is that going to throw you, or are you going to be able to deal with it? Because you're going to have to deal with it at times in the playoffs. So overall, not worried about it. The body of work recently has been so good that I don't know. I'm just not worried. Not worried with that one.
I mean, they had a few chances to go up 3-1, and it just didn't happen, and then it got away from them. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I know some people today on my show were a little pissed that they couldn't do it against a weaker team, but I said, look, Colorado's lost 4 games in a row. Like good teams, great teams even, still lose 20 to 25 hockey games every single season at least. So you can't get too fired up about every single loss. Now, one of the storylines in that game, coming out of the clinching game on Friday, was the Darnell Nurse injury, and Jay Woodcroft says no timeline just yet. We'll see if he's ready to go to start the playoffs. It was weird because it didn't look like there was one specific play where all of a sudden you're like, oh, something bad happened. He kind of went down at the side of the net that one time and then didn't come back, but didn't look too bad. Gauger, what do you make of Darnell Nurse not being around here for maybe the next little while? Obviously not an ideal, far from ideal situation, but if they don't have him back to start the playoffs, how much trouble do you think they're in?
Well, when I first saw the injury and we rewound it and looked at it, it was it looked more ankle to me, and almost I was worried about Achilles or something like that, right? At first. And so
did you guys get a bunch of looks at it? Because you were on the panel that night, right? So you must have got it.
So we were looking at it for a bit there to see. And then for him to go off, he went off on his own power, which I thought was okay. And I was, the ultimate kind of what I was, if he went on the trip, that was kind of the telltale sign that he was. But for him to stay at home, I think they were just like, you know what, let's rest this. And by saying we don't know if he's going to be ready, I don't think it's as serious as it would have been if, say if he did rupture an Achilles or something like that. So
yeah, he did. They did say he didn't think it was anything major, right? So yeah.
So I would I'm not too worried about it right now, Dusty. And I mean that it is a big hole, but if he misses the first game of the playoffs, I still think the Oilers are in a pretty good spot. I know he plays a ton and he's a big integral part of the team, but right now the Oilers defensemen have been playing quite well. It's obviously a huge piece to add to your lineup, but I'm not too worried about it.
Cass?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it yet. I mean, the thing will be is if he comes back and he doesn't have the mobility like he did before because he has to play so much. Those knee injuries, because that is what it looks like there. It depends on what grade it is. Is it, they classify them as like grade 1, 1+, 2, 2+, 3, 3+, like depending on the severity of it. And so part of it just depends on how severe it is. And is it MCL, ACL, PCL? Like we don't really know exactly what's going on in there. And is it going to affect his ability to move laterally? Is it going to affect his ability to cut? I don't want to say you don't want to get overly concerned because at this point they say he's going to be back and he's going to be ready. Yeah. But at the same time, you're kind of like, well, what happens if he's not? And how is that going to affect him? And, for a team that really is desperate to make it out of the first round, he's a super important part of this team. He's your best defenseman. So I'm not freaking out about it, but I'm certainly, if I have both my feet in the floor, my legs are, they're bouncing around a little bit because I'm not quite at that nervous stage, but I'm like, okay. Like what's going to happen with this? How is this going to affect him? What happens if he can't go? So yeah, I'm just hoping that what they're telling us is true, that he's going to be back and ready, and that there won't be any kind of performance issues. Because if there are, I mean, it doesn't make it impossible for them to get out of the first, but it just makes it more difficult.
I mean, Los Angeles is in a situation without Drew Doughty. It's going to be difficult for them to get out of the first round, right? The one thing that the Oilers do have going for them, and I'm not trying to take away from what Darnell Nurse means to the team, because he obviously is. Remember in the playoffs last year in that Winnipeg game, he played like 68 minutes, whatever it was. It was like a ridiculous amount of ice time, and the guy can log minutes. The one thing that you look at right now is you're running Keith, Russell, and Kulak on the left side. And the one thing they are, at least, is veterans. They're all veterans. You're not sliding in a Broberg over his head or a Niemelainen into a playoff spot right now. You still have 3 vets on the left side, which I think is a little bit saving grace, at least until Darnell Nurse can get back. And then even if he comes back and he's not 100%, maybe you give Duncan Keith a little bit more, and you still have 7D dress, so you can play Kulak a little bit more. So if you do decide to go with 7D in the playoffs, there might be some spots there where you can get Darnell Nurse a little bit of extra rest if, in fact, it's something that lingers a little bit into the postseason. All right, let's continue with our discussion here. We got to talk about it. And Gauger, let's go where you want to go next, buddy.
Well, just looking at the situation down in Vegas, is it good night for the Golden Knights? Man, what a fall from grace this is. And watching that Sharks game and the comeback and losing in the shootout, man, this is I don't know. I mean, there's there still is a chance, but their schedule
it's like 11%, isn't it? Like it's a very weak chance.
They play Dallas, and that's like if they have to win, I think, in regulation to keep their hopes alive in that one. Then they get Chicago, and then they get St. Louis. And I mean, even if things go well, you hope that probably St. Louis might rest some guys at that point, and maybe you get a inferior lineup at that point. But yeah, as it stands, Vegas has 79 games, 90 points. Dallas 93 points, 79 games. LA 80 games, 96 points. So yeah, this is really tough. That's going to be a fun game to watch with Vegas and Dallas. I'm kind of looking forward to watching that one. But if I was going to put my money on it, I think I don't even know. Is it too hot to golf in Vegas right now? So they'll probably have to come up here to go golfing right away.
Cass, it's a little bit of a weird vibe because like Vegas comes in, surprises everybody, goes on a run, and then they add one big piece, then they add another big piece, then they add another big piece, and then they got all these guys in the LTIR, and all of a sudden I think you go from a lot of people being like, "Go Vegas," to like, "Take that, Vegas. You're not going to be in the playoffs. This is come back to bite you in the ass." It's an ultimate heel turn here by the Golden Knights over the last 12 months, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit, but I love it. Like I love that people are reacting like that, and I'm one of them. I'm just kind of like, oh, they're getting ready to try to screw everybody with the salary cap, which is exactly what they were trying to do. And it may not pan out for them. It may not work out for them, which is kind of comical. And I love that it's kind of turning them into this villain because they come into the league. They're like the new guys, right? They're the underdogs. They develop a big following. They got cool jerseys. They put on the good show. People are a big fan of them right away. But they've had a lot of success, and people are remembering that they still want to cheer for their teams. And then they see something like this happen, and they're reacting to be like, yeah, these are the bad guys. Like they're wearing their dark, black and gray jerseys, and they're evil, and I just want to see it get stuck to them. And to me, that's good because it creates rivalries. It creates some animosity between organizations and teams, and I think it's great. So pretty crazy if they can't make it. Really, really crazy if they can't. A lot of it, or almost all of it, I would say, hinges on that Dallas game on Tuesday. Like if Vegas loses, that's all she wrote. But if they win, it's interesting down the rest of the way here.
Before we take a look at the rest of the playoffs, Gager, I did tweet that I was going to ask you about this because you're on that panel Friday night, and I tweeted out a picture of your suit. I thought it looked great. That's a suit I'm very jealous of. But the picture I got of you is when you were trying to not laugh when Stoff was losing his shit. I was Gager's like, what was take us back to that moment, because I'm sure you just wanted to, kind of like we do on this podcast, right? Like you just want to laugh because it's something funny's happening. Yeah. But what was that like?
Well, Stoff, there's a long route that he has to take from
over
the
there,
radio booth to get over there, right? So he's huffing and puffing by the time he gets there, and he came in, he was shot out of a cannon. He was showing me tweets he got from Brian Burke complaining about the Nuge's stick in front, and he was just so heated about this. I'm like, this isn't gonna go well. And I was kind of laughing to myself because Stoff's great, man. He's really passionate, but
he's so passionate.
Oh gosh, it's just crazy. Yeah. So, and he's just like he's an encyclopedia with stuff. So he's spouting off these numbers and that numbers. So already I'm trying to just Joaquin, calm. And I as soon as Gene that kind of just throws the little chums the water a little bit, and he just went off, and so the camera's off, right? So I'm thinking, okay, this is hilarious, but they're pointing that they're going to go back to live, and I'm trying to hold it, and Gene's laughing. So, and I'm trying not to look at Gene, and that they looked like I was taking a dump on that photo, but it went well because of the chocolate incident in my bed. So
I was going to say,
true. Yeah,
there's like the overnight, like there's a sneaky one where you don't realize it's happening, and that one was just like right in front of the world for everybody to see.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it's one of those situations. Maybe it wasn't that funny, but just because I wasn't supposed to laugh, it was even funnier. So yeah, and Stoff just goes off, and it was really funny. I wish the cameras kept rolling after, like when we left, because the camera crew and we were all just laughing after that because it was so funny and stuff. And it was a good moment. It was good.
Oh, that looked hilarious. I loved it. All right, before we wrap up, we got to talk about a cast. Where do you want to go? What do you want to talk about, bud?
I wanted to talk about not necessarily how they're going to finish up, but not necessarily how they are, but how we want that first round matchup to be. Like which first round matchup right now that is potential. So either set in stone or
like around the league.
Around the league, which one are you guys most excited for? I was torn between two here, and I'm going to talk about the one I think that I'm more excited for, which is a little bit of a sleeper series. The obvious one to me is if it ends up being a Toronto-Tampa first round matchup, that's going to be a pretty epic series. Like, so two really good teams could be a pretty good battle. That's the easy one. The sleeper series to me in the first round, that's going to be one of the most interesting. That's going to be one of the best, I think, is St. Louis versus Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
St. Louis versus Minnesota. Like that, for all we don't talk about them, that is going to be a heavyweight matchup between two teams that are both playing absolutely lights out right now. Like Minnesota, 8-0-2 on a 5-game win streak. So 8-0-2 in their last 10 on a 5-game win streak right now. St. Louis won 3 in a row, 9-0-1 in their last 10. Like these teams are playing some really, really good hockey. And place, I don't want to say they play similar styles, but they kind of play similar styles. And I just think it's going to be an epic series. Like that could be one that I think goes 7 games and is going to be tight the entire time and isn't just like slow defensive boring hockey. Like there's going to be some up tempo speed and some aggressiveness to that series. It's just going to be a blast to watch. Like that one to me, aside from the Oilers, is a series I'm most excited for because I just think the chance for fireworks and for just the craziness or something insane to happen is just baked into that one. And I'm pumped for it.
Well, you're not wrong, Cass. That's going to be great. But I think any series, the first round with Toronto is what I'm going to be most focused on to see what happens here. Because they have to get out of the first round or else it's going to be complete carnage in that city if they don't. But
do you blame someone for losing to Tampa?
I know.
That's
it's
tough.
So hard. And the fact that Tampa has just Will Smith these teams that they could possibly be playing in the first rounds lately is unbelievable. So yeah, I might be more interested in a couple of those games out east to start next week. We'll see how it goes.
Let me throw one more series in there. But my first two answers probably would have been Toronto, Tampa first, Minnesota, St. Louis second. I think Calgary, Nashville could be a really good series. Like Nashville's got, great goaltending battle. UC Saros and Markstrom, that should be great. Nashville's got these, I don't know, where are Forsberg and Duchesne? Did they both get to 40 yet? They're both closing in on 40 goals. Like they both had really nice seasons offensively. They've got this Roman Josi MVP caliber season. This year, I would look at and give Nashville the edge on the blue line and between the pipes. And I know Markstrom's had a ton of shutouts, but I think UC Saros has been the better goaltender this year. So I think that would be a hell of a series. Like I don't think Calgary walks all over Nashville. You think they do, Cass? You think they crush Nashville?
I think they crush Nashville.
I don't think so.
It may take them maybe 6, which may not be crush, I guess. Winning in 6 may not be crushing them, but I think they're going to handle them.
Yeah, 6 wouldn't be too bad. I view like 4 and 5 as maybe not crushing, but easier.
I still view, so if I'm looking at this, I still view like Calgary. So 3 teams like Calgary, LA, and Nashville to me are teams that have squeezed every inch out of their team already at this point. Like I don't think there's another level for the Calgary Flames this season. I don't think there's another level for the LA Kings this season. I don't think there's another level for the Nashville Predators this season. Like Yossi's been playing at the absolute best clip he can. Their forwards have been scoring at the absolute best clip they can. I don't think they have more to give. And so I picked 2 of those teams against one another, like at Calgary, Nashville. Like could be a good series. I think Calgary's a better team as it is, without Nashville being able to raise their game, without Calgary being able to raise their game. I think they win. And then, to be frank, I think either team, probably Calgary in this instance, is going to be set up to lose the next series because I don't think there's anything else coming out of them.
Gager, where would you come out on that series? Obviously, next Monday we'll know all the matchups, so we'll like full blown prediction episode will be great. But early thoughts on that one?
I have to agree with you, Cass. I don't think there's another level with Calgary, but I think that level is good enough to win. Like I think they're good enough to get there. So I like that. I'm just trying to think. I don't think any of these. Do you see a sweep at all in any of these first round series? Like I can see them all going to at least 6 games. Like every single series that we look at now, I see them all kind of going 6 with I'd say probably a majority of them have a possibility of going to that 7th game. We see that usually in the first round. It's just mayhem and craziness. But
if the Avs are healthy, they might be able to sweep the Stars. But
even then,
I mean, Stars, like Dallas went on a run 2 years ago, and a lot of those guys are there still, right? So
Dallas, man, I saw Pavelski. Pavelski. I was going to the office. He was good. He went to that game early, man. That was crazy. But he's awesome still too. I think they've been playing a playoff style hockey for a long time now, and they're big and physical. So I still see that going 6.
Going to be great. This first round is going to be awesome, boys. I cannot wait to preview it. We'll have a few matchups probably locked in by Thursday, so we can get to that on Thursday's episode. Let's wrap up this episode with a round of the Two Guys Showdown, a new smash hit game right here on Two Guys and a Goalie. It's right in Matt Cassian's wheelhouse. So you know how this works. It's Family Feud style for anybody who's listening or watching for the first time. And hey, if you're watching for the first time and you've not yet subscribed to the podcast, just search Two Guys and a Goalie on all of your podcasting platforms, and we would very much appreciate the sub over there. So I've got the top 5 answers on the board, boys, and this would be the top 5 goalies in goals against average so far this season.
Goals against average?
Yes, that's right. Cass, I think you're muted. It's tough to get in on the contest when you're muted, man. All right, give me the number 1 answer, or Gager has a chance to steal it.
Yeah, number 1 answer. I'm going to go Jakob Markstrom.
He's number 3.
Number 3? Oh, no.
2 spots higher. Gager, if you get one of those 2 spots, it's your decision to pass or play, buddy.
Shesterkin?
Correct. That's the number 1 answer. Gager, pass or play?
I'm going to pass.
Wise decision, okay. Young Padawan. Okay, Cass, we need the next 3, buddy.
Okay, so him, Soros?
No.
He's not on there.
I know.
Okay, Kemper?
Oh,
jeez. This is ridiculous.
Hey, Gager, remember, you need to come up with one still.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, do I? Okay.
Oh, did you say over a certain number of games?
Well, a decent amount of games. Like I'm eliminating the 4 and 5 game guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Wait a second here, Cass. Wait a second. Wait a sec. Stop for a sec, because I'm seeing 2 different stats on NHL. Okay, I'm going by the main page of NHL.com stats, so don't look. But I was just kind of looking because it looked like the other stats are a little bit different. But
okay.
Yes, we are played.
We're good. They played
22 or more games.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they played enough games to make it legit.
You got one more strike.
I know I got one more strike, and I don't know where to go here. Shesterkin is already gone. He's already gone. Bobrovsky.
Gager.
Come on.
Brilliant decision to pass. You need one of the other 3 guys in the top 5 to get this done.
We're going to go with Andrei Vasilevsky.
Incorrect. Top 5 goaltenders.
Freddie Anderson's got to be one of them then.
Number 2.
He's number 2.
Freddie Anderson's number 2. Markstrom's 3. Jeremy Swayman is number 4, which none of us would have got. I would not have expected that. And then Sorokin is number 5. Shesterkin 203, Freddie Anderson 217, Markstrom 221, Swayman 237, Sorokin 238. Just very quickly on the save percentage, Shesterkin 936, Sorokin 926, Anderson 922, Kemper 922, Markstrom 922. So congratulations, Cass. That's another win. You just seem to find a way, buddy. All right, let's play one more. I got one more. Two Guys
Showdown. The only reason I got
here.
that one is because he passed on it too.
Yeah. What are the odds?
Shoot.
Okay, here we go. This is a fun one too. This is top 5 names, or should I say the worst 5 names are on the board. The bottom 5 teams in the National Hockey League this season, according to the standings by points. Cass.
Oh crap! Who's it between those teams? Oh, this is absolutely atrocious. I'm thinking
this is
Buffalo Sabres.
They're not even in the bottom 5. Gager, name a shitty
Montreal
team.
Canadiens.
Oh, that's
Number 1 answer. All right, Gager, run the table, buddy. You need 4 more. Who are the other 4 worst teams in the league?
Worst teams in Arizona.
Correct. Number 2 answer.
We're gonna go with the Jets.
That's 1 strike.
Vancouver.
No, come on now. One more strike. Cass, you're gonna steal this. Come on, Gager.
I know. I got
Columbus. What?
Gee, you guys. 2 Guys Showdown is my favorite thing because this is so entertaining. Cass, name one of the other worst teams in the league.
This one I go. This one I got. The Seattle Kraken.
3rd worst team in the league, Seattle Kraken. The other 2 answers we were looking for up on the board, Philadelphia and New Jersey. The other bottom 5
How did I
teams.
not think of them.
I don't know how you didn't get Seattle, Gager.
My first thought was, for some reason I was stuck on like New Jersey and Philly in my mind. I'm like, no, Buffalo was way worse than them.
Yeah, but Buffalo's been pretty steady since Eichel started playing for Vegas for some reason.
I know. I was just panicking. I panicked. The pressure was on and I panicked.
To tell you the truth, I completely forgot Seattle was even in the league.
I'm not even blaming you, buddy. I have a few guys text in today, be like, Dusty, I was so high off that the victory over Colorado Friday, I didn't even know the Oilers were playing Sunday afternoon at 11. Yeah. So it was one of those games, one of those weekends, boys. Okay, before we go, on Thursday's episode, we were going to do some mean tweets, Cass, so let's just lay this out here one more time, and then obviously we'll all plug it on our social media and get some mean tweets here in regards to Gager, which I am going to steal some of my own jokes for roast night. But what do you got here?
Well, I think people can give us some good material too. But we're looking for on behalf of Kids Sport. We're doing the roast of Joaquin Gage to raise money for Kids Sport. The roast is coming up on May 13th. Make sure you get your tickets today. What we will be doing is we're going to be doing a contest where between now and Thursday, you need to send in your mean tweets. You can tag the podcast. You can tag Kids Sport. And make those mean tweets about Joaquin Gage. And what we're going to do is he's going to read a whole bunch of them live because that'll be funny. And then he's going to have to pick the most cunning remark, and that person is going to win a pair of tickets to the game. So a pair of tickets on the line. We're going to tweet out the information about it, but just start those juices going. Start sending some mean tweets to the podcast, and make sure you tag Kids Sport 2 in them. You have to tag Kids Sport in order for it to be viable.
Okay. Well, that's what we'll get out there. We'll tweet out all that information as well on all 3 of our social media accounts. Gage, you're Joaquin Gage 31?
Yeah.
I'm at Nielsen TSN 1260, and he's at Cassassination, which it took me like 2 years to figure out how to say that, but now I know how. I don't know why it was so.
Did I ever tell you guys the evolution of that, of how it came to that? Have I told you guys that?
Didn't you? Who was fighting to get the rights to it too?
No, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. Yeah, there's a funny story behind that.
We heard one of those stories. We either heard the origin story or somebody was trying to take it.
We probably heard the media. No, the media in Vancouver, the old media that tried to turn a small request and just tried to run it into something just that completely wasn't. It was like made it into some massive deal. Like, whoa, look at this guy, and it was ridiculous. A bunch of meat bags, but yeah, man, I still just gonna shake my head at being like, man, I just never want to be that guy in the media. Like, it was stupid. But no, we'll do it some other time. Like the evolution of how it got to Cassassination, though, because that was
with the mean tweets. Yeah, with those no alopecia jokes, okay?
Like, no, stay away from the alopecia. Yeah.
But you can send in Chris Rock jokes.
Yeah,
so that's okay. Yeah,
100%.
All right, that's going to do it for another episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. As always, brought to you by our presenting sponsor with Cool Bet. Stay cool, bet responsibly, and when you sign up over there, use the code 2GUYS, the number 2 in the word guys, and you will get hooked up. We'll be talking some Oilers. They play with Tuesday night and then Thursday, so Thursday will be a game day for the Oilers, so we'll be setting that up for you right here at Two Guys and a Goalie on Thursday. For Gage and Cass, I'm Nielsen. Thank you very much for downloading, subscribing, or watching it live here on Twitter or YouTube. Very much appreciated, and we'll talk to you guys on Thursday. See you later, boys.
See you, boys.